The Giants have officially benched Eli Manning. Maybe a little scapegoating going on here. Why did they bench him and who could replace him? The Chargers and the Cowboys squared off this week and ending up switching spots on our power rankings with their recent winning ways are the Chargers, now the favorites to win the AFC West. The Seahawks are back in the W column, but can they make it to the Super Bowl without the Legion of Boom? The Chiefs are in a complete free fall after losing 5 of the last 6 games and could be looking to make a QB switch. Cam and Harris go through that decision and whether or not could actually lead to success. The Jaguars took an L against the Cardinals. Are they a real threat in the playoffs or are they just a flash in the pan? The Rams took down their biggest test of the year and Chat Sports has officially put them in our top 5. The Patriots took care of business against Miami and Brady is as sharp as ever. Are they the best team in the AFC or would you rather take the Steelers? And the Eagles have the best record and maybe just the best player as well, but are they the best team? Cam and Harris answer every question. Welcome to NFL Power Rankings. Here we go.
Hey folks, and welcome into NFL Daily on this Thursday afternoon. Look who it is.
The Dream Team's back. Welcome back, buddy. Welcome back.
There's Rubenstein, Aaron Rodgers with you as we take you through Week 13 Power Rankings. We're counting you down from 32 all the way to 31, or excuse me, to number 1. That would be a short show if we did 31.
Are we ranking power? Are we ranking your performances in Thanksgiving bowl games?
We will not talk about my performances in Thanksgiving bowl games because my most recent performance encapsulated a 3-interception.
Do you want a hug? Do you want a hug?
I don't need a hug from you. Folks, we thank you for tuning into the program. We are completely live, throwing those comments and reactions as we go throughout all of the teams here today. Before we get to the power rankings, though, of course, we will get to some news and notes from the NFL here today. And we'll start off with an agreement, Harris Rubenstein, among the players and the NFL, at least in principle for now. And so it looks as if they have reached a tentative agreement, we shall say, on a proposal to partner together in an effort to promote social justice.
Which, you know, what you thought would be great, but apparently a lot of players are really angry about this. They feel like they're just kind of throwing money at this problem, and that's going to be that. Also, not so breaking news, a little bit of breaking news. BSO, Robert Littell, also known as Black Sports Online, has been breaking the story all day that Malcolm Jenkins is the one who has made this deal. And in the deal, it says that Malcolm Jenkins gets access to over $50 million of this money to do with what he pleases.
And guess what? He's not protesting this week.
Exactly. So, I'll put it this way, Cam. It's never over. We're going to hear a lot more about this as we go on.
So the framework of the deal, which needs to be ratified by NFL owners, states the league and its teams will, quote, provide approximately $90 million to $100 million between the onset of the arrangement and 2023 to social causes deemed important, Harris, by these players, focused in particular on the African-American communities. Maybe this will be something that'll draw back some of the protesting.
This seems like something that on the face is a really good thing for the NFL to do, but also at the same time, it seems like something that the NFL, again, is just kind of throwing money at and hoping it goes away. You know, I remember a couple years after, or no, it was the year after the whole Ray Rice domestic violence case began, that the month of October they increased the amount of pink stuff they were selling because, hey, women's rights, blah blah, like just classic NFL using money to try to solve their problems.
Okay, well, certainly a step in the right direction with all of this. So that's one news and note. The next one is in regard to the New York Football Giants. They have lost yet another star player for the year. Janoris Jenkins, he is done, Harris.
Yeah, this was one they didn't bench.
Yeah.
You're going to get ethered, New York Giants. Janoris Jenkins, I think, is intentionally removing himself from the situation because I'm sure he wants no part of anything going on with this team anymore. I cannot believe what a flip the New York Giants have gone through between last year and this year. I've never seen anything like it on a year-to-year basis.
So Janoris Jenkins, another one bites the dust, if you will, with the New York Football Giants. It seems like
crazy.
Their star players are just waning away there on the team, and some by bad decisions, some by injuries. We'll get to the bad decision later in the show here. But we come back on screen to remind you, today's show is sponsored by Mizzen & Main, the world's most comfortable dress shirt. Buy one on their website, comfortable.af. Why are these shirts so comfortable as F? They're made out of performance fabric. That's right, performance fabric, or shall we say advanced performance fabric. These aren't the shiny polyester shirts that your uncle was wearing at the 1970s prom. We're talking about 22nd century level stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Made in America as well. They breathe, they stretch, they wick away sweat. It's a beautiful thing. Requires no ironing, no dry cleaning, and are machine washable. That website, comfortable.af, Harris.
Yeah, no, and you know, we talk a lot about the performance fabrics, and, you know, kind of goes back to, you know, like an Under Armour kind of shirt, but these are even better. They're dress shirts. It's incredible. They're so comfortable. They're breathable. You can wear them anywhere. You can wear them to the club, wear them to work, you can wear them to sleep if you want to. That's how comfortable these shirts are.
And Tom Downey, of course, has that green one, but he can't wear it on set because he turns no hologram.
Just NFL Daily right across his chest.
Many thanks to Mizzen & Main for being our sponsor here on NFL Daily. All right, buddy, ready for some power rankings?
I'm ready. I'm ready to ether the New York Giants is what I'm ready to do.
That'll come up soon. But first, let's get to a more pathetic team right now, the Cleveland Browns. Still winless. They check in at number 32. And searching for answers, Harris, we're at a point where I'm not sure if this team will get a win.
Well, when you don't score points and you don't stop the other team from scoring points, fun fact, you're going to lose at football, Cam. But I got to say, one shout out for this Cleveland Browns team. The defensive line is very, very solid. Danny Shelton's had another great year. Myles Garrett has been really good as well. And, excuse me, another name for people who like making NFL comps. I got one for you. Emmanuel Ogbah. He's currently out for the year. He just injured his foot. He was fantastic this season. Very comparable to someone like Chandler Jones. So the Cleveland Browns have something to build off of. They have a good defensive line. Good for you, Browns.
And as we're talking about the Browns, Adam Schefter of ESPN 53 seconds ago tweeted, Browns have officially activated Josh Gordon from the commissioner's exempt list. So
it's time.
He's starting, baby.
It's time. I'm so excited. We need to give Josh Gordon a really cool nickname. I haven't come up with one yet, but he'll be back.
Something to do with weed or no?
I don't know.
Too soon?
The smoker. I don't know.
Cleveland Browns at 0-11. They'll take on the Chargers this week. Will not get any easier for Cleveland. Let's check in with number 31 in our power rankings. The New York Giants, perhaps one of the saddest franchises this year. Look, I mean, the thing we can point to is the Eli Manning benching, but also Odell Beckham Jr. out for the year. Sterling Shepard has been banged up. Brandon Marshall out for the year. Offensive line and the poor drafting that they've done with that group. It's all boiled down to a really bad 2017.
And we have a weigh-in coming in here. Why do you think the Giants benched Eli Manning? Comment, please, people. There's only one reason they benched him. It's because Ben McAdoo is a giant, unadulterated failure. And this entire experiment of him trying to be the head coach, taking the job from Tom Coughlin, has also been equal of a disaster. Just one thing that you needed to know about this Giants team, and it goes back to 2 years ago when they fired him. Go watch Tom Coughlin's exit press conference with the New York Giants and look at how he reacts when he walked past owner John Mara. Just with an absolute and pure disgust on his face. I have plenty of Giants fans who I am friends with. They are all absolutely disgusted with the franchise. They think this is one of the worst moves ever made in the history of the New York Giants franchise. It puts even more question marks on top of a team that is going to have huge holes at both GM and head coach, now at quarterback as well. This is one of the worst decisions I've ever seen a front office make in a very, very long time. This isn't to say that Eli Manning is a superstar at all. This isn't to say that he's even a good quarterback. What this represents is they are trying to pick out a scapegoat for one of the biggest failures in the history of the organization, and they chose their two-time Super Bowl MVP quarterback.
This is how I put it the other day on the Cam Rodgers show. I said it's not an X's and O's problem. This was a symbolic mistake and a symbolic problem.
Yeah.
Because you are benching, like you said, the two-time Super Bowl quarterback in Eli Manning that beat an undefeated Patriots team. And now you are going to bench this guy for what? To see what you can get out of Geno Smith?
They're not even benching him to see what they have in a future quarterback. They're benching him for Geno Smith. What?
A failure in his own right.
Geno Smith. Cam, if I had told you in 2010 that in 2017 Eli Manning was going to get benched in week 14 for Geno Smith, what would you have said?
I would have laughed.
I would have laughed too. I can't. I'm so mad. You will not find someone who dislikes Eli Manning more than I do as a football player, and even I am angry about this.
By the way, remember when the Mara family a couple of weeks ago put out their support for Ben McAdoo? Well, today, Harris, looks like they're backtracking a little bit today. John Mara said that there are no guarantees in life now in regards to Ben McAdoo's future.
I love how they're going to wait to the end of the season to evaluate their just one of the worst head coaches in football, but they'll wait until week 14 to randomly bench their starting quarterback.
It is no doubt one of the more head-scratching moments this year.
I don't get it.
And that's why we're spending some time on it, because we want the folks at home to weigh in as well. So throw in those comments, and we will continue our list here in the power rankings. Giants at 31, the San Francisco 49ers at 30. The big headline with them, the Jimmy Garoppolo era is upon us.
Yay! I'm so excited to see what Jimmy G is going to be able to do behind the worst offensive line in football and no weapons at all.
Oh,
yay!
There's that too.
Yay!
He's playing a tough Bears team this week, but obviously, thank God that Jimmy Garoppolo is getting his chance now.
Yeah, I'm excited. Look, when he was starting those games for the Patriots, that game against the Cardinals was one of the most exciting Patriots games I had, like regular season Pats games I had watched in years. He's a good quarterback. I really do truly believe that he will end up being one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football. I think he is that kind of talent. I think he's that kind of leadership ability, but it's all going to matter about what weapons they surround him with. They need to draft him weapons ASAP right this very second.
Well, they're certainly devoid of them right now, although
they have nothing.
Marquise Goodwin, he's a nice little spark plug.
He's come along this year, and George Kittle as well at the tight end position is also a really solid player, but boy, do they need to give him a number one weapon on the outside. Do you know what would be really funny? Do you know what's actually hilarious? Do you know what would be a great fit with him? Josh Gordon.
Ooh.
Josh Gordon would actually be a great fit on the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo.
All right, so San Francisco.
Actually, wait, might not be a good idea because he would have to live in California.
That's a good point.
Not great.
That's good preventative point there. Yeah, got to be careful with that stuff. Niners are at 30. Let's get into the 20s here, ladies and gentlemen. Number 29, the Indianapolis Colts. Remember when people were actually drafting Andrew Luck in fantasy drafts in August? They're like, all right, he'll be back after 3 games absence. He's not going to play at all this year, and here are the Colts 3-8. It's been bad.
It's the Colts. The Colts are bad. Blah. Move on. It's the Colts.
All right, Colts are at 29. All the analysis you really need with them. Number 28, a big disappointment. The Denver Broncos, still searching for a quarterback in Harris. I think there is a scenario where their future at the quarterback position, not on the roster.
I don't think it's on the roster. In fact, we'll actually have a weigh-in coming up about him pretty soon. I think, and this is horrifying for the rest of the AFC, because I love this guy. I think that Baker Mayfield will be an incredible fit on the Denver Broncos. You give him 2 great outside wide receiver options in Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas. You give him a solid offensive line and a good stable of running backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield. Hello, that's literally Baker Mayfield's offense at Oklahoma. I think that he'd be an absolute perfect fit on this Denver Broncos team.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, this is a situation where it seems as though Denver's defense has even folded a little bit, understanding that they're not in the hunt.
They just have no confidence anymore. Yeah. Their confidence is shot.
They'll take on the Dolphins, another team lacking confidence, so going to be a rough one there. We'll get to the Dolphins soon, but at number 27, the Chicago Bears, good defense, has been performing pretty well all year long. The offense is the big question mark, especially at wide receiver.
They're just young. They're growing. Kevin White hasn't been able to play any games. The rest of their wide receiver options are a bunch of nobodies. Zach Miller isn't playing. The only 2 good options on the team are a second-year running back and a rookie running back and a rookie quarterback. You know, that's why their offense is 29. They don't come around. Give them a couple years. This Bears team is growing. I like what they're doing on defense.
Bears take on the Niners this week in Week 13. Number 26, the Miami Dolphins. As I mentioned, they'll be taking on the Denver Broncos. This Dolphins team just looks lost.
I say this with a lot of confidence. I honestly think that this Miami Dolphins team might be the second worst team in football. Like, they just don't care. They do not care at all. There's nothing exciting about this team. The offense is super bland. Jay Cutler and Matt Moore are the same quarterback. I mean, Ndamukong Suh, Cordrea Tankersley, their second-year corner, has been pretty good this year. Rashad Jones is having a nice season at safety. It's just Adam Gase just isn't getting out of these guys what
the
we thought he would.
quarterback whisperer, Adam Gase?
Oh, well, look what happens when you have Peyton Manning. No.
That's a good point.
Peyton Manning has now gone through 2 offensive coordinators in both Adam Gase and Mike McCoy, who he made seem like the second coming of Jesus, who have just done absolutely nothing without Peyton Manning. So beware.
It's amazing the Dolphins actually made the playoffs last year. This year, probably not. 4-7, and they take on the Denver Broncos in what will be a snoozer. They're at number 26. Let's get to number 25. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jameis Winston back at the quarterback position this week, which is good news, although 2 of their starting offensive linemen on injured reserve.
I really did think that this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team was going to take the next step, but their season's unfortunately kind of over. There's no way they're going to make the playoffs at 9-7 in the NFC. They needed to win out at 4-6, and that's a tough thing to do when you're Ryan Fitzpatrick going into Atlanta. It's just not going to happen.
Defense is a big problem too, especially in that secondary. Problem.
Boy, they just everything that could have gone wrong for them this year went wrong. Doug Martin didn't take the step that they needed. Deshaun Jackson didn't open up the offense like they thought he would. None of their young guys on defense stepped up. All their stars, both their linebackers on defense got hurt.
Where's Cameron Brate, by the way? I am not hearing his name enough.
Well, it's because there you go. There's a lot of problems on this team right now, and I think maybe I don't know if a head coaching shift would do it, but I think a coordinator shift might do some wonders for that defense.
Unless they win out or go maybe 8-8, Dirk Cutter's in trouble. That's all I'll say.
Very true.
So Tampa Bay at number 25. Number 24, the Houston Texans. They just played on Monday night. They almost squeaked one out against the Baltimore Ravens. Not the case. They're 4-7, and they actually released Lamar Houston, one of their linebackers there, and that tells me that Bill O'Brien's starting to look ahead to next year.
Do you know what actually is also kind of sad about the Texans? If they had Deshaun Watson, you could make a pretty solid argument that they might be 7-4.
Sure.
Which is just stunning to me. I'd be kind of stunned if they actually be able to bring him in. But we'll see what ends up happening with Deshaun Watson. I'm a little worried about him coming back. A lot of his stuff has to do with quick mobility, being able to move quickly through the pocket. I think it's going to take him a half a season next year also to get back afterwards as well.
So Tom Savage, kind of that bridge quarterback as we stand right now for the Houston Texans, because, of course, they have to wait for Deshaun Watson to come back. And injuries on the defensive side as well for Houston, obviously very big reason why they're 29th in scoring defense. So this week they take on the Tennessee Titans. Big game for the Titans. We'll talk about them later. But right now we're going to talk about number 23 on our list, the New York Football Jets. And hey, Geno Smith's old home. And look, the Jets this year.
Isn't that also really funny? That he's
funny.
Also, so much irony in the NFL this year.
The Jets lost to the Panthers 35-27. It was actually a lot closer than what that score indicates. The Panthers got a couple of fluky touchdowns. Luke Kuechly took one in, and Kalen Clay as well on special teams. But the Jets have competed more than we thought this year.
This isn't going to happen anymore because they've played themselves out of a good quarterback coming out of this draft. I'm telling you, Cam, and besides the fact that they might get Lamar Jackson and win a Super Bowl next year with him as their quarterback, kidding, but do you actually be a great fit on this Jets team? Also Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield would also be a great fit. I think Baker Mayfield would be a great fit on any team that needs a quarterback, especially a Jets team that kind of needs a tempo setter on offense. They've needed a tempo setter on offense for a long time now, someone that can get the guys fired up. So we have a weigh-in coming in here. Who should draft Baker Mayfield? Give me a heart for the Jets, a wow face for the Broncos, a laughing face for the Giants, and an angry face for the Saints. Cam, who do you think?
Well, I think the best situation for Baker Mayfield would be New Orleans. But I don't think New Orleans would be able to draft him, obviously. Right. I mean, they have a great record, and they're going to finish towards the bottom. I actually like the Denver Broncos because I trust that organization to treat Baker Mayfield correctly, let him grow in the proper way. Whereas the Jets organization, the Giants, it just seems like they're in shambles. And like I said, the Saints, I don't think they'll be able to draft him.
I don't think they'll be able to draft him, but I would love to see him spend 1 year behind Drew Brees. I got to say, the one crazy thing about Baker Mayfield, and I've said this a couple times, he just doesn't turn the ball over. This isn't even just a thing he does in college. Go all the way back and look at the numbers he put up in high school. He just doesn't throw interceptions. He doesn't do it. It's just not something that he does as a quarterback, which, a lot of quarterbacks have been able to avoid throwing, just turning the ball over, but he can avoid turning the ball over while still staying as aggressive as any quarterback we've seen come out of the draft in years. So it's super impressive to me how well he plays the game with his style.
All right, so throwing those reactions, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be tracking them throughout the show here. We are completely live. The Jets check in at number 23 in our power rankings. Number 22, the Green Bay Packers. They played on Sunday Night Football against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Actually competed really hard in this one, Harris. You could tell they were desperate. They knew their playoff lives were on the line. Now at 5-6, playing in a tough NFC, it's all but done for them.
We kind of saw what peak Brett Hundley looks like. And peak Brett Hundley looks like a pretty good quarterback. It's just the problem is, and we've said this a couple times about the Packers now, it's very obvious that outside of Aaron Rodgers, they've just done an awful job drafting the past couple years. I mean, the defense is almost completely devoid of talent in the front seven besides like one guy in Mike Daniels. The offensive line has no depth at all. They never were able to get the running game figured out. Maybe Jamal Williams is that guy finally, but man, if you're Ted Thompson, the GM of the Packers, I think you need to start asking yourself questions about where you are leaving this football team.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, look at the offensive line this year for Green Bay as well. And the interior, not very good. Lindsley at the center position has been underperforming. Really, the only good offensive lineman is Bakhtiari.
They kept giving away all their interior linemen. TJ Lang is gone. Josh Sitton is gone. They kept.
What do you expect, right?
Yeah, like what do you expect? Giving up 2 Pro Bowlers and All Pros, you're going to get bad offensive line play. Who's their right guard? Isn't it like Jari Evans?
Yeah, and
it's Jari, like 38-year-old Jari Evans.
He's been around. There's no doubt about it.
He's been around forever.
So those are the Green Bay Packers there at number 22 in our power rankings. Number 21, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Love Bengals.
Hey, Harris, they've won 2 straight, and I'm not saying there's not a chance.
They're in the playoff hunt. If only they would use their first-round pick, John Ross, who apparently Marvin Lewis hates
what's
for
the deal
no
with that?
reason. I have no clue. John Ross is like a good person. Like, he never had issues coming out of college. The only issues he had coming out of college were injury problems, but he never had any off-the-field controversy. He never had any coaching controversy. I'm okay with John Ross.
The Cincinnati Bengals are at 5-6 right now. They have a huge game against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. The Bengals sport a defense that is pretty darn good this year. It's not getting a lot of credit because it's the Cincinnati Bengals and they've been losing games, but still in the playoff hunt in a shallow AFC right now. They're the 8th seed.
Are they? Oh, they're the 8th seed.
So they're on the outside looking in.
Who are they behind right now?
Behind Buffalo, behind Baltimore in the wild card hunt.
I could see them making a run. They do have another game this year coming up against the Ravens.
So the Cincinnati Bengals are at 5-6 on the year at number 21 in our power rankings, moving up from number 23 last week. Let's summarize what we have so far in our power rankings, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just tuning in, we will go through 32 through 29 here. So at number 32, the Cleveland Browns, a winless football team right now. That's why they're right there. The New York Football Giants maybe deserve to be 32 in terms of their administrative decisions, with Eli Manning getting benched. They're at 31. San Francisco 49ers checking in at number 30. Indianapolis Colts at number 29. The next slate here, 28 through 25, Denver Broncos at 28, Chicago Bears there, Miami Dolphins, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the next 4 here, Houston Texans, New York Jets, Green Bay Packers, and the Cincinnati Bengals at number 21. So,
I can't believe the Bengals are still in a playoff race.
Isn't that amazing?
It's crazy.
That's so indicative of the AFC playoff picture.
Classic. It's awful.
All right, so let's move along in our power rankings. Folks, we have the Arizona Cardinals checking in at number 20, and this is a team that just beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are on the very, very fringe of the NFC playoff picture. They're the 12th seed right now at 5-6. They got to win out and hope for a lot of help.
I love the Arizona Cardinals. You want to know why I love the Arizona Cardinals? Because they are the ultimate 8-8 football team. They are such an 8-8 football team. Like, it almost hurts. it hurts how much of an 8-8 football team they are and have been for the past
Blaine
like,
Gabbert
3 years.
revenge game, my man.
Like,
you got it done.
That was awesome. I love that. I loved how much Blaine Gabbert was pumped to play in this game, too. You knew he wanted to get back and especially beat the guy who replaced him. I got a little trivia question for you, Cam. We got a little trivia this week. Who are the only 3 players with more 75 catch seasons than Larry Fitzgerald? If he gets 3 catches this weekend, he will move to his 10th. So he will be tied with 2 other players, and then 1 player has 13. So put some comments in. Let us know who you think the 3 players are, and if you get it right or wrong, we will bring your answer up live on air. So one more time, who are the 3 players with more 75 catch seasons than Larry Fitzgerald?
That's a tough one. There are, not so obvious names in that list there,
yes.
Harris. So
one of them, producer Brett Scott got, and I was just stunned. I was stunned.
So throw in those names,
played.
folks, and we will be bringing up the answers later in this show. By the way, Cardinals linebacker Chandler Jones, Harris, you know him well, recorded 2 sacks against Jacksonville. He's tied with Everson Griffin with 12 sacks for the lead in the NFL. Chandler Jones is the only player in the NFL to have at least 10 sacks in the past 3 seasons, so getting it done there in the big toaster. All right, let's move along in our power rankings. Number 19, the Dallas Cowboys. They have a game tonight. They're taking on the Redskins in the 116th edition of that rivalry. The Cowboys are at 5-6. In absolute, I'm talking like desperation mode. The plug is about to come out, life support kind of situation.
Yeah, and I got to say this, and I've been waiting to get on the NFL Power Ranking show to talk about this, because I've said this a couple times on a couple NFL Dailies. Stop with this Dak Prescott is bad stuff. Stop it, please. The dude has played 22 games in 2 years and has had, I don't know, 4 bad games. I'm sorry if your 4th-round pick quarterback out of Mississippi State has had 4 bad games in which he's missing maybe the 2nd or 3rd best running back in football, along with maybe the best left tackle in football, and his defense is missing, the best player on their team. I don't want to hear this Dak Prescott is bad. Dak Prescott is obvious liability somewhere, but at the same time, I'm sorry. Dak Prescott is not a bad quarterback. Leave it alone. This is not his fault.
I do expect him to play a lot better tonight than he did a week ago on Thanksgiving against the Los Angeles Chargers. And a comment did come in earlier on the show, Nick Penkala, asking me, Cowboys or Skins tonight? I'll give you my answer right here, Nick. I actually think the Redskins get it done. They get Trent Williams back at the left tackle position. They're favored by 2 points. I like them to win by more than that. And I think they get it done tonight. Obviously, both teams have been dealing with their fair share of injuries, but Sean Lee means so much to that defense. For Dallas, without him, the run game's going to open up big time for P-Ron.
As long as Dez Bryant continues to be one of the most overrated players in the entire NFL, the Cowboys will continue to lose games. Wide receiver 1 is now officially the biggest need on the entire Cowboys team.
Isn't that amazing?
Because Dez Bryant has been bad.
So the Dallas Cowboys are at number 19, falling from 14 a week ago. Number 18 in our power rankings. Just win, baby. The Oakland Raiders. Well, they just won last week against the Denver Broncos. I'm talking about the game, Harris, not talking about the fist fight. I'm not sure who won that one between Michael Crabtree and Aqib Talib, but I digress. The Raiders 5-6. They're still in the playoff conversation in the AFC side of things.
Getting there.
But, look, they're not going to have Amari Cooper this week, it doesn't look like, dealing with an ankle and concussion. And Crabtree has to serve his suspension. So, Seth Roberts, anybody?
Woo! They also have the hardest schedule in the NFL coming up over the next couple weeks. They play the Giants. This week, not so much Giants. Next week, they play the Chiefs in Kansas City, maybe fighting for their divisional lives. The Cowboys the week after, maybe fighting for their playoff hopes. They have the Eagles, the best team in the NFL, the week after that. And then they have the Chargers in Los Angeles the week after that, which will be a Raiders home game, mind you, because it's in Los Angeles and the Raiders are bad.
So the Raiders are at number 16 in our power rankings. 18 in our power rankings. Number 17, the Washington Redskins. We just talked about them a little bit during our Cowboys card here. Here's the Redskins card. They're at 5-6 on the season. They just beat the Giants on Thanksgiving night. They play the Cowboys tonight. Look, the sad thing with the Redskins is it's almost not fair because I feel like they could have been a good team, but the injuries just mounted.
The injuries mounted, and for whatever reason, they just can't seem to beat good teams. They can't seem to win the big games. And I think that's what, I understand they've had a very difficult schedule. I get it. I do. But what separates the good teams from the bad teams is when you have that tough schedule and you end up winning those games. And they simply just haven't been able to win those big games this year.
So the Washington Redskins falling from number 15 to number 17 in our power rankings. Again, they play tonight against the Dallas Cowboys. As we bring you back on screen, hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into NFL Daily, presented by Mizzen and Main. We are talking about 22nd century level stuff. This is what they do, folks. Fantastic performance fabric shirts. Wick away sweat. Very comfortable. Not talking about the old school polyester stuff that your uncle wore back in the 1970s, or maybe those heavy cotton shirts. This makes you feel like you're going to the gym, but maybe you're going to work, you're going to a party, etc. A fantastic product. Just head onto the website, folks. You won't regret it. Comfortable.af. Get that holiday shopping going. If you are one of those procrastinators, don't wait. Go on this website. There are great shirts.
Me. I need one of these shirts, and I also need, to buy people these shirts. So I'm going to do that for Happy Hanukkah, whoever's going to get my shirts.
Merry Christmas, Dad. Hopefully you're not watching. I'm not revealing the surprise. Comfortable.af is the website, ladies and gentlemen. They are fantastic shirts. Comfortable as F. Many thanks to Mizzen and Main for coming along here on NFL Daily. Let's summarize what we have so far in our power rankings. So the first four, or I guess you could say the bottom four, Cleveland Browns, New York Giants, 49ers, and Colts, followed by the Denver Broncos, Chicago Bears, Miami Dolphins, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Next four, 24 through 21, Texans, Jets, Packers, and Bengals. 20 through 17 now, Cardinals, Cowboys, Raiders, and Redskins. So we're at about the midway point in our power rankings here. So let's get to number 16 on our list. Wow, this is weird to see. The Kansas City Chiefs, a fall from grace, Harris, losing 5 of their last 6 games. And now one has to wonder, are they at a crossroads?
Yes, they are completely at a crossroads. And Cam, I don't want to say I told people, but I told people this was the problem with the offense. Kareem Hunt was going to hit a rookie wall, and they were going to have to trust Alex Smith to win them games. Cam, how many times have we seen this happen? Can Alex Smith win you games consistently? Yes or no?
I mean, yeah, he can win games.
When has he ever done that? When?
Beginning of the year, he was winning games.
Oh, great. Yeah, when he had a working running game. And then guess what happened?
Are you talking about in terms of if the game is on the line?
If the game is on the line and you need Alex Smith to win you a game, how many times has he actually done it?
Probably
never.
Like in a sample size of 10, he'd probably do it 2 times.
The only time I can ever remember him doing it is that crazy San Francisco 49ers playoff game. That's the only time I can remember Alex Smith winning a huge game in the clutch like that without an amazing running game.
You're not one of those people that wants Mahomes, are you?
I'm not one of those people that wants Mahomes, but I'm saying that if Alex Smith over the next, let's say, what happens if in 2 weeks you're 6-7? What do? This is a win-now football team.
Yeah.
What do? I think you have to start. I think you have to think about it.
If it's abundantly clear that Alex Smith is the problem, and let's face it, he is not the problem. He's a part of the problem, but he's not the problem.
I'll put it this way, Cam. An offense that has Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce should not be struggling to score touchdowns. To me, that says quarterback every single time. You don't see Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas having issues scoring touchdowns because they have Drew Brees. You don't see Sammy Watkins, Todd Gurley, and Robert Woods having issues scoring touchdowns. They have Jared Goff. Alex Smith is the problem, and he has been for 5 weeks now. It's on Alex Smith.
Okay, it's a big test this week, obviously, at the Jets. They can't lay down in this one. Falling 6-6, watch out for the LA Chargers. And they seem to be playing some pretty darn good football right now. We'll talk about them later. But right now, the Kansas City Chiefs, as we stand, are at number 16 in our power rankings. Number 15, the Buffalo Bills. I mean, I guess they bounce back nicely after a drubbing against the Chargers. Yep. They go in and take care of business in their most recent game, and they get a victory against the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. What do we make of this team? They're at 6-5. I don't have playoff faith in the Buffalo Bills.
I don't have faith in the Buffalo Bills either, as long as they're still thinking that Tyrod Taylor isn't the answer. But, good for the Bills for actually kind of coming to their senses. But, look, This Bills team is way overperforming what we thought that they would be. I'm stunned that they're 6-5 after 11 games. But at the same time, good for the Bills. If the Bills can make it to the playoffs and end that awful streak, great. Awesome. All for it. But is it actually going to happen?
Maybe we're just giving charity claps right now.
Good
charity claps.
Good for you, Bills.
Go you, Buffalo.
You're 6-5. You're going to get a really, really bad first-round draft pick at like 15.
Yeah.
Not great.
Well, they're at 15 in our power rankings right now. Let's move along here at number 14. The Baltimore Ravens control their playoff destiny. They are inside the playoff picture as we stand right now. I could go on and on and on, but Harris.
Are you excited?
Harris, December Joe is a-coming.
December Joe is a-coming?
Yes.
Is that a good version of Joe Flacco?
That is a great version
that's
of
been
Joe
hiding
Flacco.
for the past 5 years, who hasn't been.
Just talk about the Ravens. They're in the playoff picture. They're at 6-5.
Look, I'm happy for them. I think that this is a favorite for a playoff spot right now. I'm with you. Look, this team is
soft schedule.
Soft schedule, and then they December this weekend actually, big game against the Steelers.
Yeah.
So a lot of things.
The Ravens play the Lions this week. Then
right, next week. Next week is the Steelers. I think that this Ravens team is primed for a run to the playoffs. However, this team is not going to win a playoff game. This team is going to get to the playoffs and lose to a better football team. They're not there yet. They're growing. The defense is really, really good, but they don't have the quarterback and they don't have the weapons on the outside. They're going to get beaten by a better football team. Like they are if the Jaguars were worse. That's who the Ravens are.
Well, they were uninspiring on Monday Night Football. There's no doubt about it.
But they beat the Texans 23-16. Good win to keep them in the playoff hunt. I'm worried that they'd end up on a football field with the Chargers or something and just lose to a superior passing attack.
I'm sure the Ravens hope the Chiefs win the AFC West.
Very true.
The Ravens match up much better against a Chiefs team than, let's say, a Chargers team.
Beat them in a playoff game a couple years ago.
When Matt Castle was the quarterback.
Right, I remember that.
So the Ravens, they got the Lions coming up, then the Steelers, as you said, Harris, then they have Browns, Colts, and Bengals. The Ravens at number 14 in our power rankings. Number 13, a team we just mentioned, the Los Angeles Chargers. Harris, I said this a month and a half ago. Watch out for this team. They have two premier edge rushers in Ingram and Bosa. Yep. Casey Hayward, Trevor Williams on the outside. Nice safety tandem as well. That is a formula, Harris, for getting a lead and then teeing off on the opposing quarterback. I
wish I could take credit for them being good. I was just like 10 weeks early. So I don't get to take any credit for the Chargers, actually ending being good. This is the best team in the AFC West. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think if you put them and the Chiefs on a field right now, that it would be a very ugly game for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chargers, like you said, great offense this year, dynamic defensive line. That secondary is fantastic. Casey Hayward is making a run for maybe one of the 3 to 4 best corners in the NFL this year. He's been spectacular for them. I think the Chargers are going to end up winning the AFC West. They still have another game against the Chiefs, and I think they're going to win that one and win the division.
Okay, there you go. The Chargers at number 13. Throw in those reactions, folks, about who wins the AFC West. We are going to head into number 12 in our power rankings, the Detroit Lions. What do we make of this team?
They're what I've made of them all the time, that they're an average football team with a quarterback who's not nearly as good as his fan base thinks he is.
Or
I'm sorry,
salary
Lions
says.
fans. I'm sorry. Like, he doesn't win big games. Think about it this way. Against the Vikings, at home, down a touchdown, 4 minutes left in the game, 4 and out, picked off. I understand he has a lot of fourth quarter comebacks. I get it. When does a fourth quarter comeback ever come against a team that's worth anything?
Or in a playoff.
When has he ever won a big game for the Lions against a team in his division that's better? When has he ever gone into Lambeau and beaten Aaron Rodgers and a bad Packers team? When has Matt Stafford ever done any of these things? And yet I have Lions fans in my mentions all the time. Stats this, stats that, blah, blah. He doesn't win games. Until Matt Stafford can legitimately win games for his football team, he is in a division with Brett Hundley, Mitchell Trubisky, and Case Keenum, and he can't win the division? He can't win a Thanksgiving game against Case Keenum, who hadn't scored a point since like minute 3 of the first half? I don't see where Lions fans are getting off. Please, have Matt Stafford win big games, and then I will consider the Lions to be here. But as of right now, they're an average football team. They're like the Cardinals.
Well, they have a pretty simple schedule coming up. After Baltimore, it's Tampa Bay, the Bears, the Bengals, and the Packers. They could win 4 of those 5. Who knows?
Can you imagine them on the same field in the playoffs against the Rams? Woof. Yeah.
So the Lions are at number 12. Number 11 in our power rankings, the Tennessee Titans. And look, this is another team that I really can't buy into. Talking about the Lions earlier, talking about the Titans now in the AFC. Just uninspiring football.
They reached their peak last year of what they were able to do under Mike Mularkey, and then we're kind of seeing what happens when you try to extend a peak longer than what it should have been. I really do think they should have made a change on the offensive side of the ball for this team. I think Marcus Mariota has really peaked a lot inside of the system. They need to make Derrick Henry the feature back at this point. DeMarco Murray is just not getting the job done. But at the same time, Cam, they're 7-4. They're winning football games.
They're right there.
And you know, they're in the playoffs. Right now, they're leading their division. If they beat the Jaguars one more time, they're going to win the division, which is crazy to think about.
Speaking of those Jaguars, Harris, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars checking in our number 10 ranking. So the Jaguars, they lost to the Cardinals. And look, I saw that one coming. I thought that going on the road into Arizona, I thought maybe they'd lay down a little bit, and they did. And Blake Bortles was not very effective in that game. Leonard Fournette was not good at all in that game. Very disappointing. So for Jacksonville, they sit at 7-4, still inside the playoff picture in the AFC as we stand right now. They're the 5th seed. But for this team coming up, they have the Colts, Seahawks, Texans, 49ers, Titans. Obviously, it's going to come down to that Week 17 matchup.
In my opinion, this is what happens when this is the first game where we saw the Jacksonville Jaguars really miss Allen Robinson. They just didn't have a guy on the outside that could take advantage of some of the holes in the secondary. They just didn't have that guy at the wide receiver position, and it really ended up killing them in that game. But the reason we have the Jaguars over the Titans, despite the fact that the Titans do currently have the tiebreaker over them, I think that this Jacksonville Jaguars team is still better. I think that they have more talent on the defensive side of the ball. I think that Leonard Fournette and that offensive line is going to come around eventually. And I also think that you put them head-to-head, I think the Jags just match up very well against what the Titans tried to do on offense.
Right.
It's a growing team. It's only going to get better. That defense is fierce, but boy, do they need a receiver. D.D. Westbrook, you know, his first 2 games of his NFL career, they put a lot on him. He hasn't really been able to live up to it yet. Marquise Lee is better as a number 2 guy. We'll see.
All right, so the Jacksonville Jaguars are number 10 in our power rankings. So let's go to number 9 here. We have the Seattle Seahawks. Over the past 5 seasons, the Seahawks own the best December record in the NFL at 19-5. And Russell Wilson, a big reason why, Harris, in December and January, over 5,000 yards passing, 47 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, and a passer rating of 103.5.
This is what they do. This is what they do. They survive and conquer until December starts, and they blow you off their field at home. They're going to have, I believe they have at least 2 home games coming up in December, and I believe that that number might actually go up to 3. So this Seattle Seahawks team, no, it is 2. I was right. No, it is 3. They're going to play the Eagles this Sunday. They're going to play the Rams at home and then the Cardinals at home. So 3 wins, in my opinion at least, at home in December. This is what the Seahawks do. I want nothing to do, if I'm an NFC team, with going into Seattle. Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, it's rainy, it's cold, you want nothing to do with it. This is how they win games. But a question for you, Cam. Can they do it this year without the Legion of Boom?
That's a big question. Yeah, and we want the audience to weigh in on that. Of course, Cam Chancellor, done for the year. Richard Sherman, done for the year. Those are 2 big-time holes in that Legion of Boom, and it has been susceptible to big plays lately because of those injuries. So the Seattle Seahawks, as we stand, they are at number 9 in our power rankings. Let's summarize what we have so far, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get to 8 all the way down to 1 soon, but let's start from the bottom here. Browns, Giants, 49ers, and Colts. Then we have the Broncos, Bears, Dolphins, and Buccaneers, 28 through 25 there. And then we have the Texans, Jets, Packers, and Bengals, 24 through 21. And the Cardinals, Cowboys, Raiders, and Redskins, 20 through 17 there, 16 through 13 here. We have the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, and Chargers. And then finally the Lions, the Titans, the Jaguars, and the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, my.
So there you go.
I was making a stupid joke.
What was that?
Just because you said Lions and Titans, and I said, oh my, Like, no, okay,
Stick
fine.
to your day job, please. Atlanta Falcons, let's show them.
This is my day job.
They're at number 8 in our power rankings. How about Julio Jones? 12 catches for 253 yards and 2 touchdowns versus Tampa Bay.
Look what happens when you throw him the ball.
He now has 3
Wow.
career games with at least 250 receiving yards and is the only player in NFL history to have multiple 250-plus yard receiving games. Unbelievable.
It is so good. He's literally
the man.
Just when he gets Antonio Brown's the best wide receiver in football. Odell Beckham is the most dynamic wide receiver in NFL football. Julio Jones is the biggest physical freak that we've had since Megatron. And it is awesome to see that he really has lived up to his kind of Super Bowl persona. There's a great article. He's actually on the front cover of Sports Illustrated recently. The story on Julio Jones' background is just incredible. It's amazing. The guy grew up as an urban legend like Bo Jackson did in his hometown. Really incredible stuff from Julio Jones. The Falcons are turning into high gear. We call them frauds, Cam.
You're right, we did.
As of right now, they're proving us wrong.
We're eating our words.
They're proving us wrong.
By the way, Mohamed Sanu threw a touchdown pass.
Best QB in the NFL.
Last week, the first non-quarterback to throw 2 career 50 or more yard touchdown passes since, how about this, Pro Football Hall of Famer Walter Payton.
He's 6 for 6 for like 220 yards and 3 touchdowns in his career. Good for you, Mohamed.
There you go. So the Atlanta Falcons are at number 8. They will perhaps move up in the rankings as they go throughout the schedule here. We have the Carolina Panthers checking in at number 7. Carolina with the league's number 2 ranked defense, doing a pretty good job on that side of the ball. Uninspiring on the offensive side against the Jets. But I think it was just kind of off week.
Do you know what they've done a couple times this year that it's very impressive to me? They have found ways to win football games when Cam Newton has been bad. And that is such a huge thing for this team that they have not been able to do the past couple of years. And it has a lot to do with their running game. The offensive line, Cam, has actually improved. There have been weeks where Matt Khalil has not been horrible. And that has been enough. Good for you, Matt Khalil. You are not yet living up to that contract, but you are at least saving the Panthers bacon sometimes.
A big reason why that defense is so good right now. K'Wan Short, the number 1 interior defender according to Pro Football Focus.
He's so good.
Really great job so far this year for the Panthers. They take on a New Orleans Saints team that is at number 6 in our power rankings. The Saints with the number 2 ranked offense in the NFL. And in November, Harris, only 2 players have gained at least 400 scrimmage yards and scored 4 touchdowns. And they're both Saints, Kamara and Ingram.
I love the running attack, but I got to say that the last game against the Rams really did worry me. Because, look, you can say what you want about, Marshawn Lattimore and Ken Crawley. We're out. Fine. They still struggled against a team that for a large part of the game was able to stop the run. And there's a lot of that game was put on Drew Brees' arm to win it. And I'm not saying that Drew Brees is over the hill. I'm not saying that Drew Brees isn't great, this and that. I love Drew Brees, first ballot Hall of Famer. But I'm just saying, slightly concerning. Slightly concerning that they needed to turn to Alvin Kamara to win them a game, and he's just not there yet. He's not going to win you a football game quite yet for every single time you need him to. A little bit of a concerning thing to see what happened to them against a better football team. I think the Rams are a better football team than them, but we'll see what happens with the Saints team. This game kind of made me think that the Saints, are maybe a year away.
All right, they have a big game this week, no doubt about it. They play the Carolina Panthers. Let's check in with the team that just beat the Saints, the Los Angeles Rams at number 5, averaging just a shade under 30 points per game, the second best mark in the NFL, and really an inspiring victory for them against the Saints. And yeah, you can talk about the Lattimore situation. He wasn't in the lineup there for the Saints last week, and maybe that was part of the reason why the Rams won, but still, Jared Goff, Cooper Kupp, hey, they didn't have Robert Woods, so we can look at injuries on both sides.
The important part when you're talking about young teams and their overall success is what does this team do coming off of a big loss? They go into Minnesota. They just looked completely outclassed against Minnesota. Minnesota's on a whole different plane for them right now. They lose 24-7 in Minnesota. Then they come back at home. Huge game against the Saints. Same record. Big game for tiebreaker implications down the line. And they come out and win without their number 2 target, Robert Woods. I was incredibly impressed by this win. I think this is the best win that this franchise has had in years. years. Huge win for this franchise, huge win for this football team, and a huge win for Coach Sean McVay, who keeps on telling his guys, keep grinding, keep burning, keep pumping, keep doing what you need to do. This team is going places. I said it last week. This isn't just a team that's going to vanish over the next couple years. This team is young. This team is fast. This team is talented. This team is fantastic, and I think they're only going to get better.
I don't think it's crazy to say that Aaron Donald may be the best player in the NFL.
Yeah.
You know, just like looking at the position. So the Rams doing a fantastic job this year. They're at number 5 at our power rankings. At number 4, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Pittsburgh Steelers actually own the best December record the last 5 seasons, talking about the AFC, so not the NFL. The Seahawks have that. But the Steelers, they got Bell, they got Brown, 2 studs right there, and a defense that's playing pretty darn good.
The whole question with the Steelers come down to one thing and one thing only. Can they beat the Patriots? If they can beat the Patriots, then this team is fine. But if they can't beat the Patriots, then it's the same team that it always is. Quality team, doesn't do great against big games, plays down to their competition, blah, 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 this and that. Oh, Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown are going to be great next year. They have a big game in a couple weeks against the Patriots. But 2 divisional games in between that, against the Bengals, then against the Ravens, then they get the Patriots. Do not overlook the Bengals and the Ravens. They will beat you.
Yeah.
This is the AFC North. Don't mess around.
Black and blue, baby.
Don't look over division rivals. They will make you pay.
All right, so the Steelers at number 4. You know, Harris, somebody in the comments section said, if the Vikings aren't in the top 3, this is a joke. I am so glad we're not a joke, Facebook commenter. Skull, baby.
Woo!
We got the Vikings at number 3 with good reason, a 7-game win streak. And Case Keenum posted a 114 passer rating in November, the 3rd highest mark in the league during that month. Keenum has recorded a 100-plus passer rating in each of his last 3 games. Give him the respect he deserves.
Best defense in the NFC, and right now one of the hottest offenses you'll find. Adam Thielen's been amazing this year. Stephon Diggs, when he's healthy, has been amazing this year. Latavius Murray and Jerick McKinnon have combined for an awesome thunder and lightning combo, and that backfield, that offensive line has been maybe the best in all of football this year. I'm so high on this Vikings team. I think they're the only team in the NFL that could actually stand up to the Eagles and win. They have a huge game in Atlanta. This Vikings team will get a chance to prove itself on national television, and I think they will. You give me one. If you're telling me, Harris, you have one game, pick a unit on defense, I'm going to choose the Minnesota Vikings. I love the way they're coached. I love how they've been playing together for multiple years. I think they're smart. They're talented. All pros all over the place. One of the best pass rushers in the NFL in Everson Griffin. I'm all aboard the Vikings bandwagon. Choo-choo, Skull, baby.
Harrison Smith has been so darn good at the strong safety position. He is the number 1 graded strong safety according to Pro Football
Doing
Focus.
good things for the namesake, Cam, let me tell you.
Unbelievable. So the Minnesota Vikings are at number 3. Hey, they match up really darn good, I think, against the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they would have the best matchup, the best chance to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll talk about them soon, but let's get to number 2, the New England Patriots. Look, this is a team that has actually been okay on the defensive side. If you want to talk about points and, you know, in recency. Right?
Okay. It's been a little bit better than okay. It's actually been pretty darn impressive how good that they've actually been this year on the defensive side of the ball. But I got to say, it all comes down to one man and one man only. And that man has been Tom Brady, who, 40 years old, doing what he's been doing. It's just incredible. And I got to say, I've said this the past couple weeks, I think this is the most versatile set of weapons that he's ever been given. Multiple running backs who can catch the ball out of the backfield, multiple options on the outside that can do significant damage to you. Him and Brandon Cooks fit together like peanut butter and jelly. They have been a fantastic combo. Brady loves them. And by the way, Gronk this year, he has not been used as much in terms of overall snaps. He's not been targeted as much as he has in recent years past. His effectiveness is still there. They're very clearly saving him for the playoffs a little bit. And you want to talk about the defense? They have been the best scoring defense in the NFL since week 6.
Isn't that amazing?
Isn't that incredible?
Because they're still giving up yards.
And look, I'm not going to sit here and act like they played the superstar of superstar offenses. They haven't. There have been a lot of clunkers along the way, like the Dolphins. But I'll say this, they have been much, much better.
Okay, so the Patriots remain at number 2. That means it's Fly, Eagles, Fly. The Philadelphia Eagles.
Don't sing the song.
I won't sing. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
I got you. They're at number 1 in our power rankings, and this is a team that continues to roll. They have a 9-game win streak right now. Wentz has 5 interceptions this season and is the 3rd quarterback in NFL history to have at least 25 touchdown passes and 5 or fewer interceptions through his team's first 11 games. The other 2 names right there, Brady and Rodgers, Harris.
Yep. I like this Eagles team. They are the best team in the NFL. I can't wait for this weekend's game against the Seahawks.
Big test.
And the game after that against the Rams. Because if you ask me, their division, or their schedule this year, a little flippy-floppy, a little iffy. They lost the early season game to the Chiefs. They beat the Panthers, who weren't great at the time, but I want to see them beat a really good team. I think they will. I'm not saying they won't. They will. This is the best team in the NFL. I just want to see them do it. I think that's fair. Let's beat the Seahawks in Seattle. Let's do it.
I'll tell you what. Big Sunday Night Football game, and they're favored by 7 points. That is very generous.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens. Eagles, they stay pat at number 1 in our power rankings. If you're just tuning in, you missed your team. We'll summarize everything for you. Let's go back to the bottom. Cleveland Browns, New York Giants, San Francisco 49ers, and Indianapolis Colts, 32 through 29, 28 through 25. Broncos, Bears, Dolphins, Buccaneers, 24 through 21. Texans, Jets, Packers, Bengals. 20 through 17, Cardinals, Cowboys, Raiders, and Redskins. 16 through 13, we got the Chiefs, then the Bills, then the Ravens, and the Chargers, all potential playoff teams there. 12 through 9, we have the Lions, the Titans, the Jaguars, and the Seahawks. And 8 through 5, the Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers, New Orleans Saints, LA Rams. Saints and Panthers do battle this week. And finally, the top 4, Pittsburgh Steelers, Minnesota Vikings, New England Patriots, and the Philadelphia Eagles, Harris. It seems as though it's an MVP race between Carson Wentz and Tom Brady, and it's the best of the NFL race between the Eagles and the Patriots.
And hey, I got to say, I think it's neck and neck between them right now. I have a lot of people always in my mentions saying, Carson Wentz is the definitive MVP, and I don't think it's as definitive as people think. I think it's 50-50. They've both been fantastic this year.
All right, buddy, you had a trivia question for the folks at home. What are the answers?
I did. Okay, the only 3 players with more 75 catch seasons than Larry Fitzgerald are, drumroll, Jerry Rice, Tim Brown, and Tony Gonzalez. The one that surprised me on there was actually Tim Brown. Pretty surprised to see that. But Tony G, not surprised to see Tony G on there. He's the GOAT. Tony G's the GOAT. GOAT tight end.
You know what else is the GOAT?
Brett Scott was actually the only one that got Tim Brown, which massively impressive. Would never pick that one, but Tony G, the GOAT.
Missing in Maine is the GOAT of apparel out there.
Whoa.
They're our sponsor here today on NFL Daily.
Throw my mic around.
It's so exciting to talk about them. Of course, these are fantastic performance fabric shirts. They are so comfortable AF because of this advanced performance fabric. This is not like your weird shirts back in the day in the 70s, polyester, shiny, gross, not a good fashion statement. These are fantastic fashion statements. 22nd century level stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Mizzen and Main shirts breathe, stretch, and wick away moisture. They require no ironing, Harris, no dry cleaning, and are machine washable. That website, comfortable.af.
Yeah, and that's great for me, Cam. You're trying to tell me that I can get a shirt that I can just wake up and put on in the morning, that I don't have to iron or get dry cleaned.
And if you sweat, it's okay. Because the shirt takes care of it.
This is just brilliant. Why aren't Mizzen and Main just the shirts that are sold all the time? Why are we even given cotton options?
Well, we can live in the now right now, and we can hop on that website. And I hope you do too when you do your holiday shopping, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you for tuning in to NFL Daily. We'll see you back here tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. For Harris, I'm Cam. We'll see you.